Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the third episode of Big Deck Energy, where we will be talking about what happened in the Battle Harden of Salt Lake City and the brawl that happened there as well.
It was a PTI event. But
It was.
Yep.
Oh, it was a full-on PTI event.
Yeah, I think that's just what they call it. I'm not sure if that was part of a brawl this time around, but yeah. They offer a PTI and a gold foil and stuff.
Yes.
Yep.
And we will be getting into kind of the formats that we want to get into in the game. The differences between CC and Blitz and Sealed and Draft. But thank you for joining us, and why don't we start off with how's everybody's week? How you guys been doing?
Not bad. I honestly, I didn't get a lot of fab in this week. I missed out on our skirmish last weekend.
Armory.
Yeah, Armory.
That was the weekend before.
I said skirmish last week, and
can we just go into our correction corner for a second? I was talking about snatch last week, talking about a control card. Meant snag, guys. I meant snag. Okay.
And I said skirmish as well. So
those damn control decks and their snatches.
We were just so caught up in it. You know?
Yeah. Anyways, continue, baby.
But I did do a lot of Talishar this week, just with not being able to play in person. I've been testing a lot of CC Vincent.
Okay.
And kind of learning the ins and outs of that deck. I figure I have all the pieces that I need for it. Essentially, I want to play it. It's such an interesting deck to try to put together.
True.
Cliff, what about you? What did you do in this week?
Well, unfortunately, I didn't have a lot of free time as I got flipped onto nights for the entirety of this week.
Oof.
But when I did get a little bit of time, I'm starting to do a little bit of experimenting with that CC Bolton I've been wanting to build for so long. Because, once again, I got all the pieces. I got my playset of Arts of War. I got my Potions of Strength. And the new Dusk Till Dawn set. So I've been slowly but surely tweaking a deck out for them.
Oh, yeah. It's nice to have you back in studio, right?
Mm-hmm. Good to be back.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great taking you to town today.
Oh, those are fighting words. What about you, Josh?
I haven't been doing too much Talishar, but I was brainstorming an idea about building I liked Old Him, so I kind of want to build that off-brand Old Him with Bravo. I got all the Starstrucks now. Kind of just want to play it out, feel it out, see how it is. But that's what I've been working on recently.
Nice.
How about you?
Is that who you're going to be playing at our Armory today?
I don't know if I'll make the Armory today.
He's coming. We're going to kidnap him, and he's coming with us. He doesn't know, but he's coming. I have been doing a lot of testing for Vegas. I kind of was on Icelander for a week or two testing that, and I don't know, these past few days testing her, I kind of thought, if I'm going to go to Vegas and spend all this money on this hotel and all the, I might as well just play the best deck. Give myself the best chance,
Absolutely.
I do like Lexi. I'm comfortable on the deck, so I actually I think I'm going to kind of locked her in beginning of the week. So I did a lot of testing with her. Now just, it's time to figure out the sideboard. I also took my son to his first ever TCG event. Sanctioned event.
Let's go.
Yeah.
What did you play at?
It was, we played in Mankato for their pre-release for Obsidian Flames, the Pokemon game.
Okay.
Definitely love Pokemon, was a huge Pokemon fan. The game, however, that's kind of a different story. I had a lot of fun. With my son for sure. Also, at the top of that night off, we each had one win in the tournament. He pulled the Golden Charizard out of his one pack and freaked out. And for the rest of the night, he was, he couldn't calm down. So, he's going to be hooked now.
Just sitting there vibrating.
Now I'm screwed. So, but yeah, that was my week in the card world.
There you go.
That's exciting.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. He, like I said, he was thrilled. I mean, he couldn't believe it. He really couldn't believe it.
I remember you telling me that he was just shaking in the car, having a mid-session drive.
Oh yeah. The whole ride home. It's about an hour drive for us, and the whole ride home, he just couldn't calm down. He just, he actually could not believe it. Yeah.
Mechanically, what are some of the biggest differences between Pokemon and Fab?
Yeah. No.
Is that a serious question? Okay. Good. I'm glad.
I just have been thinking about picking it up.
All right, well, let's get into the meta and what happened at the Battle Hardened Salt Lake City and the brawl that happened there. We had Icelander who won the Realm Brawl, piloted by Majin Bay.
Second.
Are we sure that's a brawl?
It's a
was it?
It was a brawl they claim, but
okay. Well, I know there was like the on the article it said it like just said at the top PTI.
PTI.
Yeah, PTI event. I'm not sure if it was a brawl. We can check that out. But
that's true.
Anyways,
the Battle Hardened was Blitz and Yanji Lee winning on Vincent. That's very interesting.
Yeah, how cool is that?
That's awesome.
That's good for her. I mean, taking that deck to the top and getting some LL points at a major event too.
Yeah. Have you
Runeblade's gonna do Runeblade things.
Have you tried Vincent and Blitz at all, Bailey? I
played her at our skirmish. Had a little bit of luck with the deck. I think I went like 2 and 3. So it was kind of rough, but I'm excited to be playing her in CC. I think just you get a little bit greater consistency in everything that you're doing. The higher life total does help when you're looking at losing 1 or 2 a turn.
Yeah.
And that she just gets more of that like critical setup time because she really is like she's gonna have off turns.
Yeah.
And off turns in Blitz are punished way more than they are.
Yeah, I would agree with that for sure.
It's a lot harder to recover from some of those.
Yeah, that's actually going to be like a talking point for later that I want to get into for when we touch on the formats and the differences and stuff.
Because heroes definitely make a difference between the formats, and it's whether or not they can have an explosive turn in Blitz. Like, if you have one big explosive turn, then we'll get into that more. But it was good that it was a Blitz event. Just shows that Vincent has what it takes to place in the top and get in the top 8 and win. New hero. It's amazing.
Also, I mean, it was piloted by one of the better players. I think most people would agree in the world. I know he is just a great player. Never met him, but he's always in the top 8s on a lot of these events and stuff.
He is.
So it makes sense. You also see a couple chains that made it in. I guess Ira kind of got knocked back a little this week.
It's been really interesting seeing a lot of these chains coming back in Blitz now too.
Yeah, chain just seems like the kind of deck that, especially with Carrion Husk, I feel like in Blitz you're getting over 25% of your health in your piece of one piece of armor.
Yep.
You combine that with the gloves and Crown
the gloves block for 2 and then 1, right?
Yeah.
So
he's got a fridge.
He really does. And the amount of damage that he pumps out with what he can kind of block is really hard for decks to come
back from it.
Because you try to get that snapback turn after he hits you for like 17, say. You try to get that snapback turn to try to get him to draw cards, and he just throws Husk at it.
And then keeps his whole hand, and you're just dead.
Yeah.
It makes sense that Chain would do well. I mean, Chain is one of the more broken heroes in the game, right? It's cool. You get this, like, with Blitz, too, it's a big difference. You still get to play old heroes like Chain that are LL and CC. You get to play team heroes like Prism,
it's been kind of cool.
Also strong in Blitz. Prism's really strong in Blitz. OG Prism.
Old Prism card pool and Luminaris with the new one and how they.
Oh, do you mean with the new hero?
Yeah.
I have seen some decks on Talishar playing some Blitz for testing the skirmish season, and a lot of the new Prisms are just running Luminaris because it's not banned in Blitz.
Yep.
And it's like they get to do things they aren't even meant to do in CC for us. So I don't know if the developers had that intended or in mind when designing her. Probably not. I would guess probably not. But Blitz is kind of just like the Wild Wild West format, I feel like.
It is.
You know what I mean?
It really is,
It's kill or be killed.
That's what I love about Blitz, though.
Yeah, I think Blitz has kind of a special spot in all of our hearts. That's kind of how we all started the game after COVID stopped. Every shop opened up, and I think most of the world was just playing
Blitz.
Yeah, playing Blitz.
Yeah, I think when we started at Legends back then, it was a lot of Blitz weekends.
Yeah. And I think it is a good starting point for people just because of the quick games. I think when you have a slog of a game and you are playing CC and you lose by incremental things at the end of the game, it feels like it feels rough sometimes. You play an hour-long game just to lose by 1 or 2 or
It's harsh. It's just that's the difference between them too.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, Blitz kind of you are in the end game faster, and you are more punished for your mistakes for sure. Yes. But the games, I think, just are faster. You just
they are.
You can play more games, I think, in a smaller time, which is just, I think, the benefit of it.
Really fast if my Blitz Rhinar hits.
Speaking of a Rhinar, we had 2 Rhinars in the top 8 for that event.
I love seeing Rhinar coming in top 8 or winning events because for most of Brute's history, they've been it's all on the dice. You can build the deck any way you want, but it's really going to come down to if your deck is on that day or not. So it's good seeing some Rhinars up there.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Who knows? Maybe after Metrics in the next couple months here, we'll be going to the Savage Lands next.
That would be such an interesting set.
I feel like they've kind of left Brutes just off to the side the last couple of sets. They haven't really gotten a whole lot.
Yeah, we're kind of whittling down the areas of Wraith, Savage Lands is one of those areas that we haven't touched yet.
Yep.
So
hey, Bailey,
I mean,
makes sense.
Levia got a little boost, but it's not. I don't think it's detrimental. I mean, she's placed a few times in the top 8 because people didn't know, but.
Well, I think actually Levia is a real player in CC nowadays. I think the Demi Hero really gives her the ability to play in the end game or have some game in the end game.
Absolutely. With that new Demi Heroes, it's interesting on which one you go for though, because I feel like you definitely have to build them towards either side, whatever one that you decide to play.
Yeah. Cliff, your hands up.
Yeah. I'm just going to point out as well, it looks like both the Rhinars had the Scowling Fleshbag headpiece.
Yes.
Oh, that is maybe something we should talk about. After playing against that card, and
it's so strong.
I am maybe more convinced that's probably one of the better cards to come out of Dust Till Dawn.
Oh, it's so good.
I mean,
yes,
that card is incredible.
I'm actually really scared of a CC Levia now because she's going to have the Carrion Husk. She's going to have the Scowling Fleshbag. She can disrupt your big turns so effectively that it's almost laughable you attempted it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really good.
Because she's going to have the 2 block from the headpiece, the 2 block, and then the 1 block off of Scabbies. And then from the chest piece, she gets that Carrion Husk.
Just the fact that you have like some disruption as Rhinar. Rhinar is not a deck that's known for disrupting your opponent. You just throw huge damage at them. I suppose Intimidate is a form of disruption for sure.
But it's on your turn.
Right. I mean that like you're not necessarily disrupting their next turn, right? Or there's no discard effects or anything like that.
Not targeting the opponent.
Yeah. but the flesh bag is just that kind of cool like form of defensive disruption. Mm-hmm. And it feels a lot like the Oldham Shield, honestly.
Yes.
You throw the shield at in a chain that really matters. That frostbite will just stop a whole turn.
The
just
Bastion.
Bastion.
Mm-hmm. Yes, okay. Yeah. The Oldham. Is it specialization?
Pardon.
No,
it's just
Elemental Guardian.
Elemental Guardian.
Right, Starvo gets to run that.
Yeah. It's amazing. Starvo.
Yeah.
I can't wait for LL. That's gonna be amazing.
I have that deck waiting, man. Sitting there.
Come on, get LL out. LSS. We can. We would definitely love to play some events with LL Heroes.
There's been a lot of talk about it at the shop lately. I think we're all kind of excited for this format.
Yeah, I think once that is an established thing, you look at a few years down the road, even with PvE coming out, I think I'm excited
for that.
Yeah, I just think that we have a lot of things to look forward to. It might feel a little. A lot of people are kind of negative right now on the feeling of everything with these last few sets and kind of focus towards a few certain heroes. But I don't know. I'm excited about the game still. I love to play it every single day, and on Talishar when I can. And yeah, we can move on to
Kasai placed in 5th as well.
Of course.
Yeah, I saw that.
She's still just doing Kasai things.
Slicing and dicing.
Kasai's still going to
one card, blood in her hands, turn.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, that
Block with fridge, block with everything, and then just blood on their hands at the end of the game. Right?
It's amazing.
It's such
How
a
many times you've done that to me?
A lot. I
know.
love that card. That's why it's one of my favorite cards. If not my favorite, I would say. It's just an over-churning point, and if you don't kill them, they have to block the entire hand otherwise.
Yeah, it's just insanely good value.
It is. Honestly, I like running Gallantry Golds in her. Just
that
for
would
that
do?
turn. You pay one resource, and it adds +1 or all the way through, so gives each swing +1.
Oh.
Lasts the whole turn.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah, that's, I mean, seems good.
It's really good. He's gotten me
really
a
good.
lot with it.
You're getting what,
A
like
lot.
+6 value out of it? Because you
Yeah.
swing 3 times with each one, right?
Twice. If you throw in a what's that other card? Twinning Blade. It has go again throughout the whole turn. So if you Twinning Blade it to give it another time, you can swing 5 to 6 times if you have to.
Damn.
You can get a lot of value out of it.
Yeah, see, that's the thing about Blitz that you just don't see with CC. There's just some real funky, fun, powerful stuff in Blitz. Yeah.
Moon's Wish.
Well,
Well, I don't know about that.
even
one,
like
G.
Reinhardt, I think Reinhardt is like on its face is a very powerful deck, and you see it in Blitz where you can just kind of get OTK'd on turn 0 or 1, and
Yeah.
there's almost nothing you can do about it sometimes.
I turned zeroed Sean at the shop. He had just built an Icelander and he wanted to play it.
That's a terrible matchup for Iceland. Yeah.
Real quick, with this coming out of week 2 of the skirmish season, one of the biggest things that caught my eye from this past week was Cav Dane winning a skirmish.
I heard
No
that.
way.
I heard that.
Beating another Cav Dane.
I was going to say, we need to look into that because what if everyone just shows up with Captain? Then they just automatically get Captain points, you know?
See, that's what happened with Datadol.
We should look into that.
I swear they're targeting.
Yeah. Alright, everyone agrees to show up with Captain. We're getting him some points. You know?
I mean, we didn't do it for a skirmish, but we did have our little merchant weekend.
Oh, yes.
That was
that
so fun.
That was such a great time. We did an event months back where we all agreed to bring a merchant deck and play a Blitz event for one of our Blitz events, and it was
So much fun.
It is so wacky. See,
I mean, we definitely have to do that again.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Fire breathing became a house that day.
I think that's one of the cooler aspects of having such like a tight knit community at the shop is we can kind of agree like, hey, like this week let's just do this kind of wacky out there thing, and like if you don't want to, you don't have to. But I mean, for the most part, I think everyone showed up with.
Yeah, I think pretty much no matter what we're doing, most of our players come. It's not like we have a lot of players that are like, oh, it's a draft today, I don't want to come. You know what I mean? A lot of players are excited to draft and
I
play
love
sealed.
draft and sealed.
Yeah, we definitely do. That could actually be a good segue into
And
our
that's, we've
next
got
segment.
another Monarch draft coming up this month, don't we?
Yep.
Yeah.
One more time to practice before Vegas, you know?
Yes,
There's,
sir.
That's been
going to be a draft for...
a fun set going back to draft.
Yeah. Didn't really get a chance to draft it much. I don't think anyone
I think we maybe got one in.
did.
I think we got 2.
No, I mean before when it on release and
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
right? Like but it's definitely been a fun draft or a fun set to draft.
Yeah.
It's great going back to it. Because
Yeah.
I never really got to play draft or anything. Or sealed, for that fact. We started in
until
Tails.
Tails,
Yeah, so we never really got to play it. So it was
Didn't
really
we
fun.
all end up on freaking Bolton that one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had 5
And
Boltons in the pod. It
Oh
was
my
terrible.
god, how did that even happen?
was
I
horrid.
think the draft afterwards,
It wasn't 5 Bolton.
we
It was
had
4.
like none.
Oh, that's
Because everyone was
terrible.
so worried about the Bolton card pool thinning out so quick.
Yeah.
I think I pushed Prism.
My
that
first
week.
pick was Spillblood, okay? I was supposed to be in Bolton
That's
that day. You guys, I don't know about you guys, okay? That was my backup pick.
That's
okay?
I picked Bolton because I'm comfortable on that deck. I've got a lot of reps on him.
Yeah.
I kind of have a good feel of like what he does, and a lot of the other Monarch heroes have been pretty untouched for me. I had like a very, very brief stint with Levia back in the day, and I was like, this deck kind of sucks.
Yeah.
And back then it did.
Yeah, Levia tends to have that end game where you hear it all the time where they just end up killing themselves with that new demi hero. You see a lot of, well, not recently, but the last few.
I don't know if the dogs were going to start going.
No, it's good. You can just edit this part.
Yeah.
What was I saying?
The demi hero.
Oh, right, the demi hero. With the demi hero, it allows Levia to just not die basically at the end of the game sometimes. Yeah. And she has a lot of power with what she's doing. Kellen proves that to us all the time when he brings it. Every time he brings Levia. I tell him all the time, I'm like, why are you not playing this deck more? Yeah. He just smashes all the time with that deck, and it's very impressive.
It's a very scary deck.
Even before it was
Dusk
good.
Till Dawn, that's what I mean.
He had a good handle on that deck. He was playing it mostly in Blitz, wasn't he?
No, he played it in CC.
Yeah.
No, I think
he played it in CC.
Yeah, one of our locals though is a avid Levia player.
The wizard on Levia.
Yeah, wizard on Levia. Okay, I like that. We should tell him that's his new nickname. He's the wizard on Levia.
I mean, he'll probably listen. So there you go, Kellen. Now you're the wizard on Levia.
Yeah.
But funny. I mean, it was very interesting coming back to that set. And I mean, what's your guys' favorite set to do a sealed event or a draft event? Truly.
Outsiders.
You're an Outsiders guy, Cliff?
I absolutely love drafting and sealed events and Outsiders. Everything just feels so well balanced, both card pool wise and hero wise for abilities. The ones I would say that have an edge for the set are definitely the assassins in the sealed and draft formats, but it's not that big of a gap. It's definitely still winnable.
Yeah, your strong Azalea decks are very strong.
Yes.
They tend to be a little stronger than your strong assassin decks.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I would argue that Riptide kind of shines in limited too.
He can.
He does.
I've lost
as long as you've got the trap card pool and
if you're the only Riptide,
yes,
you're looking at a very strong deck.
You've got gas.
Yeah, I think it was. We did a pre-release sealed, and I ended up with 6 traps at one of the events. I got 2 trap kills that day.
Yeah.
People kind of just sleep on it, but the lower card pool.
The fact that there's 6 heroes too is... Well, we should maybe talk about the difference between draft and sealed. Drafting is... I mean, I'm sure a lot of our listeners know, and our TCG gamers know all about drafting and have drafted 100 times, right?
Yes.
But you take one card from the pack and you pass it to your left or right, and you build your deck through a process of that cycle right there.
One card per pack.
One card per pack, and you build your deck, so you have a little more choice in what you're building.
Yeah.
You can kind of mold and pick your deck, and maybe if you have picked a few cards that you don't like and you find a really good card, you can kind of pivot and switch heroes.
Yep.
In sealed, it's a little more what you open. You just have to identify what's good in your pool, right? Mm-hmm. You have a little less choice in it, I would say.
Yeah.
But sealed is fun too because it kind of takes that choice away. Whereas you're just going, it's the probably most casual, I would say, limited format.
Yeah,
would be sealed.
It's the most level playing field.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, and which I think gives sealed a fun environment for sure. Everyone's there just
absolutely
having a good time,
trying
to build some nonsense out of,
something from nothing.
Yes, yeah. But drafting gives you a little more.
Sealed, you're ending up with that one majestic or a couple of those good rares that you got to build around, and
some sealed pools are just cracked too.
Yeah,
that happens all the time.
You get a few majestics, and it makes you have a great deck.
Yeah, sealed.
It can help sway your decision to which deck you want to go to.
Yeah, most sealed events too are pre-releases and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they've really done sealed for maybe team sealed. I know team sealed is kind of a thing.
Team sealed.
That's another thing we actually have to plan for the shop is a team sealed event.
We've done one once.
Yes, we did. That was a lot of fun.
The Tales of Aria was
with Tales,
Yeah, it was fun.
Well, it worked too with Tales. This is actually, I would say, I was going to say with probably my favorite set, this is going to sound crazy, but it might be Tales. Everyone hated Tales because of the lack of arcane barrier.
Yep.
I just remember Tales, I just have a fond memory of Tales. It was a lot of players were getting into the game. The cards were just beautiful. The elements were finally there. We were missing fire. I was upset being a a fire mage, right? But we got Draconic, which I suppose is the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I did like the drafting and even the sealed stuff from Tales. But if I had to say my favorite one, it'd definitely be Welcomed Wraith. I know that's like the boomer answer for sure, but
no, I agree.
It's so good, so balanced. You're playing traditional fab, you know.
Yeah.
All the equipment's blocked for one. Some of them might have a good ability, but you're playing your typical mid-range block 2 cards from hand. Maybe crack back with your red 7.
Yes.
It's just you know. It's a grind, but I really did enjoy Welcome to Wraith. Have not played like a lick of Arcane, so I couldn't really comment on that one. And Monarch, I guess we've done it a few times now.
Yep.
I don't know it's been fun.
I would be very down to try to get like an Arcane draft or an Arcane sealed.
Well, you know, I have heard. I forget the podcast that this was weeks ago, but. One of the developers, it might have even been James White. Now, don't quote me on that. But there was a question about an all Arcane set.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess he didn't say no, whoever this person was. So you can imagine with this mech set coming out, though, all focused on mech, why not an all focused on wizard set? Just a all wizard.
No.
Well, but imagine. Hold on.
Wait.
No, I know it. Imagine, though, a level playing field where every hero you're playing against is another wizard. Mm-hmm. That's going to be some sort of mind game, crazy, next level, sealed, drafted. Like, that would be incredible.
Do you know how big Illuvian would be in that set?
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm sure they would give we'd finally get the wizard hat, right?
Yeah.
Finally get the wizard hat.
Nice big pointy hat.
Maybe some gloves. Magic gloves.
That'd be very interesting.
Well,
I have not played a lot of
Metacarpus is a majestic, I mean. We're just getting like the legendary. Because eventually
what would legendary wizard gloves do?
Oh gosh.
Because a lot of the gloves seem focused on...
It's pumping damage usually. It'd be some sort of Crucible of Ether Weave effect maybe, or... Yeah, I don't know.
But isn't that already kind of what nodes do?
I suppose you're right, yeah. That is just nodes. Yeah. Huh, that's a very good question.
Unless it just reduced costs or something for...
That's more like a chess piece kind of thing.
Doesn't like feel what a gloves do in this game.
It would be
maybe a legendary arms is more of just like a repeatable kind of node effect, but that would be...
Oh, you could
really
almost
busted.
do something for legendary wizard gloves like Bracers of Belief, where you reveal the top card of your deck as both an opt and see what you got there, and then based on if it's a red, yellow, or blue pitch, you give your next wizard action that does Arcane that much +1.
Or
and
maybe you just have it deal.
repeatable.
You just have it deal damage like Flick Knives. Like
True,
at some point in the game,
yeah.
you just reveal the top card. If it's a red, you deal 2 or 3 or whatever. If it's a blue, you deal 0. If it's a yellow, you deal 1.
Like
that would
so
be
so your kind of last ditch effort end of the game where you need that extra 1 or something. Maybe you crack that those gloves and
combo line didn't fire fully and
or whatever. Yeah.
That'd
Kano
be good.
couldn't find the blazing at the end, and now he's gotta crack the gloves.
That would help a ton, especially with low life. You need almost something overpowered, kind of like that, to help you stay equal throughout the game.
Yeah.
To get that kill turn even.
Yeah.
It does take a lot of setting up for a wizard to do a kill turn. You're pitch stacking a lot. You got to know what you're pitch stacking, and you're opting a ton.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
I think it'd be fair.
What would you make them block though?
You don't.
You don't.
A lot of that wizard equipment either only blocks for 1 or doesn't block, and the ones that do are typically 1 with blade break.
Yeah.
That's your
Stormies is 1 blade break, right?
I don't even know that Storm Striders block.
I don't think they do.
Like
No.
I don't think a single
think
piece
any
of wizard blocks.
it does.
No, none of it. And it feels
as a
right.
class-
You're supposed to be squishy.
Yeah.
Isn't that the term?
Yeah.
You World of Warcraft heads.
I never played.
I know, none of you guys did. There's another boomer comment. Just put me in the boomer corner.
Is there a class other than wizard that really relies on one piece of equipment to make the entire class work, like Striders do for wizards?
You could argue warriors with the courage of blade.
But I mean, there you have the option to just run like an Axe Warrior or something too.
Right.
It's not like.
Did you see? Not to interrupt, but just kind of this maybe reminded me of the last skirmish week. There was a ton of Kasai Decimator axes apparently.
Yeah.
Did you guys see that?
Well,
I guess it's a way to fatigue your opponents and present 4 damage every turn and grind them out. I guess.
Yeah,
you get to run more than 40 cards.
That I played at Skirmish was a Decimator Great Axe Dorinthia, and it was brutal.
That thing is kind of nasty to block.
Just having the first card on the chain defending is insane.
Yeah.
That's a very good
It
effect.
kind of leaves you with, you can't block with your non-attacks because it's only going to block for 1 now. And like that just feels bad, but using your attacks to only block for 2 even.
Yeah.
I can definitely see, especially in Blitz, how that like fatigue aspect would start to come into play.
Yeah.
True.
It just gives you that feel too of warriors almost like disincentivize you to like block, or they like make you just never want to block them. You know, it's always weird to block a warrior, which that card really expresses, I think, in that ability.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stop drawing cards when I'm trying to block.
Let's go into, so we kind of like skipped over this one. Let's go into where we all started, what format we all started when we came to like our first sanctioned events. It was all Blitz, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think for all of us, like our first events were Blitz. We all kind of started around that same time, coming into the release of Tales of Aria.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And what would you guys say is the biggest difference between Blitz and CC?
Blitz is a lot faster. A lot of those, I guess to me early on in the game, like playing a Guardian in Blitz just felt absolutely overpowered.
With the fridge of armor and stuff.
With all the armor suites, the D-reacts, it was you felt untouchable. Mm-hmm. And you're like, I'm just gonna whittle you down. And I mean, those hammers, even Titan's Fist, those are always coming in for 4. It's a 5-turn clock.
Yeah, a lot of times.
Which is pretty brutal in Blitz. That's a lot of...
Well, you're soaking up pretty much everything they're doing in turn.
That's a lot of cards you're taking out of their hands. And, like, the Guardian game plan absolutely carries over into CC.
Well, wouldn't it be kind of, like, totally opposite? Where you kind of can't just, like, kill them like that? Where you have to play the slow game and, you know, you have to...
Well, you just throw red glacial footsteps, like, every 3 turns.
If it lines up like that, I suppose. You can just keep spinaling them or crippling, crushing them every turn. But
especially if they're an aggro hero, you can just stop them in their tracks, and it's just detrimental.
Yeah.
See, I was so tempted to run my aggro Bravo this skirmish season. I've got a very, very janky Towering Titan Bravo Blitz deck.
Oh my gosh, Bailey, I remember that deck.
Yeah.
You were even running the red ones.
Oh
you?
yeah.
Oh man.
They buff it by 10.
I know it. It's
you laugh at
get lucky
it.
in
Well,
Bravo.
blue, I just feel like that is the perfect card to like explain to a newer player. Not that I'm not saying you, Pixie, okay? I promise. But
listen, no, the reds are only
here's
in
the
there
the
because I
difference
wanna
between
see
a
cool
red,
things happen.
I know, because you want that 10, you want that plus 10, right? Yeah.
Dude, a Macho Grande with a red Towering Titans, that's like 18 dominate.
You've killed me twice.
I guess
that.
so. The difference between if the blue's dealing +8, right?
Yeah.
Yellow's +9, red's +10.
Yep.
So red and yellow give you an extra 2 damage and 1 damage, but they are resources less, right?
Yeah.
So you just have to ask yourself, are those resources you're getting from the blue one worth more than those extra 2 and 1 damage? And I almost always in that regard, when a blue is right, when a blue is that powerful, though, I'm saying, and in Guardians, most of your blues are powerful. That's why they kind of are auto includes, you know.
Yeah.
But the +8 on the blue one, I mean, that's like
don't
insane.
you don't even need the red one on the red one.
No.
Bailey's over there like red towering, blue towering.
I want to see big numbers.
Yeah.
It's very much a Timmy deck.
Well, I think I don't want to call Blitz a Timmy format, but Blitz is you get to just kind of I feel like almost express yourself a little more in Blitz. Like you get to just throw like crazy stuff together. You actually get more heroes in Blitz. There's more.
Yeah, there's a lot more variety.
Right, which is weird.
I think that's one of the biggest differences. It's just like the variety in the format.
Yeah. Differences, the different ninjas.
How many heroes are in Blitz now? Isn't it like 24 to 36?
I'm not sure.
Not entirely sure, but
Bailey, pull that shit up.
Like a lot of times going into a CC matchup, right? You sitting down across from the other player, they reveal their hero, and for the most part, just looking at the hero, you kind of already have like an idea of like what kind of deck list they're going to be running and like what the game plan is. And in Blitz, there's just so much more. Oh yeah, I have this one list that's meant to do this one thing that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
So you don't really get like that feeling of what they're going to be doing in Blitz. It's a lot more
absolutely
keeping them guessing.
Absolutely, the decks are not all the same. I'm not saying all the CC decks are the same, but when you are playing in maybe a bigger event and you're playing against one of the top meta decks, there's going to be little differences in them.
Yep.
There is.
Yeah.
But in Blitz, like you said, you could just come across maybe like this Ice Lexi that is all about just frostbiting you.
Yep.
Or then you come across this other Lexi. Hey, don't look at me like that.
I was just thinking back to our Talishar game last night.
Oh yeah, that was brutal. No, that was brutal.
Yeah, that card. What was that buff?
It was,
Oh, Icequake.
yeah,
Icequake.
Yeah, the
That
power
card is
in that
gross.
card.
That card is
huge.
The power in that card is that it applies the frostbite to every hit. That
Yep.
you
Yep.
So whenever
Not
you're
to-
able to attack 3 times, it
Bolt
presents a lot of value.
shot, Falcon Wing.
Yeah, it presents a lot of value for sure.
Not to give away your game plan or anything for.
No, I think that's kind of that cat's out of the bag. That's really
For
good into
Vegas.
like the mirror.
Yeah.
I think. So theoretically thinking how good frostbites are against like an Icelander, I tried playing it into her, and that one cost also with like if I play it and then they respond, give me a bunch of frostbites, turn my turn down. I just lose a lot of value with it, so I ended up starting to cut that card, finding a little more success into Icelander.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just trying to learn because we don't have like a huge team to test, right?
No.
It's all just like kind of us and just theory crafting stuff and
for the most part,
testing
it's
on
all, like,
Talishar really is.
once a week armory.
Yeah, well, right. Yeah, that's the only time I get to play. My weeks are really busy, and I'll play a few Talishar games and stuff throughout the week. This month and stuff too, I've been testing a lot more. My wife's been giving me the eye sometimes, and I'm like, I know it, I know.
Well, you gotta practice for the calling coming up.
No,
at
she's
Vegas.
so supportive and stuff. I couldn't thank her enough for coming with and
Supporting
allowing me
you
to even
while
do it.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Shirts for us with Legends on Main.
I have to talk to Steve today about that.
I talked to Jared.
Okay.
He's the son, or not son, but one of the Duskies there. But long story short, we'll have some merch. Hopefully we can get some merch out to you guys, to some listeners potentially.
When he told me that he was doing this, I was like, I can't wait to tell my kids I have merch. They're gonna just laugh.
We want to give out a few shirts to some listeners. So if you get into the Discord and check in, it'll be good. But
So I just counted it up. There are 38 young heroes.
What?
Yeah,
Are you
fucking
kidding me?
No, dead serious.
Yeah, and quite a few that don't have a CC counterpart.
Oh, trust me.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So we were way
CC
off.
data
That's
to
way
lock.
more than we thought. That's like probably that has to be one of the biggest differences. I think.
Outside of the promo heroes, they're like Yorick and Taylor. You're not going to run into those at like a sanctioned event unless you're playing UPF. But neither of the merchants have an adult. Valda does not. Yoji does not.
Shyana.
Yeah, Shyana, Emperor, Data Doll. So there's all these heroes that just don't have an adult.
Kasai.
Benji.
Kasai, Benji, Ira.
Benji
KO,
needs to
Data
never
Doll.
come to CC.
I think
just needs
Benji
to
gets
not.
significantly worse in CC.
I was gonna say I don't know if Benji even survives in CC.
Yeah.
I almost wanna put Tanner and Dylan to task and tell them, hey, Bill, go build a Benji CC and let's see if this is even good.
Yeah.
I'm always interested to
That could be kind of interesting to see, yeah.
Yeah, to even think about, like, Shyana. I was so excited for a Shyana adult to come out this last set. With
that would have been amazing. That would have been cool.
Why not? Like, just give her an adult hero. You know, the deck probably is just ass and CC as well. So, like, just give me my adult Shyana, and then everyone's happy. But, no, it forces players to play in the Blitz format if they like a hero.
Yeah.
KO is another example. Datadol. I mean, Jesus.
Oh my god.
I
KO.
Imagine.
What was it?
I love playing KO, guys.
Very
KO
first
so much fun.
I love Datadol.
Lily. The brute play. Yeah, Lily absolutely smoked me with a KO. I think it was like turn 2 and she high rolled into like 30 damage in one attack. What?
That's incredible.
Yeah. I was like, how often does that work?
Yeah, that's the kind of thing you see in Blitz,
not
though.
often.
Yeah.
That's why I love KO. The fact that you get to roll and take that chance, it's just a fun deck to play. I think you can do a lot of interesting things with that deck, and I love it personally. That's why I like
just thinking
some of
back
these
to
niche...
the one game where you low rolled like every single attack playing into my bull.
That was amazing.
And attack for 3, attack for 3.
That
can be the punishing part of KO.
That was amazing. I love that aspect as well. It's just literally taking a chance and rolling.
Yeah.
But that's also the other thing about Shyana and the Emperor, that they're kind of these niche, weird heroes that will never really truly be, like, good.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
she gets good with every set. If there's specializations in every set, Shyana's getting support, baby. Every set, let's go.
Bring it on.
Bring me some mech items. Bring me some mech items. Come on.
Dusk Till Dawn was like the best Shyana support set.
Yeah, there's a
lot of Shyana
specializations.
Cards. Yeah. I think that was our big joke during spoiler season with you. Is look at all these new Shyana cards that just got spoiled today.
Well, that's what I totally thought with the Riptide traps too. I was like, these are not even Riptide cards. These are Shyana cards. These just replace all these shitty blues I have in my deck that just are there to block 3. Like I had like Brutal Assault in the deck because it's a pummel target, but it blocks for 3. You know, that's like a 3 cost or something.
Forcing the pummel.
Terrible. Oh yeah. Well, dude.
Collapser trap feels
the worst feeling when you're running 6 pummels is when you draw up and you don't have a target. You just have like a pummel, an arsenal, 2 pummels, and a fucking Tekla core and some other bullshit. And you're like, well, this hand is unfunctional and doesn't block, and I'm dead. That's like the life of Shyana. You know?
What he's hinting at is we need a generic hammer next LSS.
Yeah, she only has Talishar.
Not a sword.
Or the Vincent flail.
Yeah,
she does have the flail.
The fact that she gets shard still blows my mind.
Yeah,
I can't tell you how many times I've killed people with the rune chant from shard. I cannot tell you. It's happened more often than you'd think.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting.
They just never have AB, and it catches everyone off guard. And
if you could incorporate more arcane other than Lesson in Lava,
you'd have to play like. I think the only other specialization is the Blazing Ether.
True.
But after playing Lesson, it goes on top. And I just have no way to like get it from the top.
Yeah.
Because you have to play the lessons, and it has to have go again somehow, and then you play the Kano specialization afterwards. And I'm not a wizard, you know? I'm not a wizard, Harry.
Could you do like a Lesson in Lava into a
but they would just block
Ice
Meeps.
Eternal?
They know they're dead if I draw the Blazing, right? What were you saying?
Lesson in Lava into an Ice Eternal? Kano specialization into the Icelander one?
But again, I have to somehow give the lessons go again with her.
Yeah, and
Eloquence token as well.
Mage Master.
I have Mage Masters, but that's usually for the tome turn, you know?
Yeah.
True. Kind of tough to get Ice Eternal to do damage in.
That deck it just goes back to... Yeah.
So it has to be fused.
That card is just an easy... beginning of the game, maybe you make a Frostbite with it if you have nothing, or you just block with it, or pitch. Like, that's a block or pitch card, because it blocks for 3, pitches for... Yep. It has some utility if you were... So, like... I have Frost Hex in the deck as well, and that card is only in there to block, pitch, sometimes fuse Ice Eternal, sometimes fuse Endless Winter. Yep. That's the only reason. And if you can pitch stack Ice Eternal and Frost Hex with Shyana, you then set up that little endgame arcane that you need. And I have done it a few times. But
and it's
a pipe dream.
It
does not happen often in Blitz.
Back to those CC and Blitz differences. How often are you seeing your pitch stack come back up again in Blitz versus CC?
That's another thing. You're usually dead. Well, no, I feel like in Blitz you're usually dead or you're saying in CC.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
In Blitz, you're dead within a few turns. It seems like a lot of games.
And I think that's a lot of like newer players, especially in CC, like getting to like understand your pitch stack is one of like the biggest things to kind of like overcome in that format.
Yeah, I think sideboarding too is another thing.
Yeah.
A lot of players will show up with 60 and just not even care about sideboarding when you can really sculpt and mold your deck to different plans and different play styles against different heroes, you know, which I think what makes this game kind of, it takes that extra step into like giving you the ability to have agency where you sideboard before the game.
The pre-sideboarding
I mean, it's so good in this game. I really do like it because I'll start with sometimes like a 42 cards core, and my sideboard is like 20 something cards.
Yeah.
And I'll build up every single matchup, you know, from 42.
Kind of how my Icelander list is. It's got that like 40 something card core of like, this is what I need to make the deck operate, and then here's 15, 20 different cards that are all good into these other different matchups.
And I think just like one of the daunting things with CC is learning the matchups, and that just takes time.
Yeah.
It really just takes time, and losing a lot. You just like, newer players lose a ton in this game, I feel like.
Yeah, well, that's how often were we on the receiving end of time.
Well, hey, I tried to make it. It's like a soft, like, hey, come on, sorry, man, let me kill you here. But let me show you how to.
Let me forget to bring like arcane barrier and stuff during those too.
I would try to help you guys understand the plays too. Like, hey, don't do that. If you do this, it's better. You know, explaining my attacks more. It's like, It's good to have someone like that to guide people along that maybe are like a little bit better at the shop, you know?
And I think that's the biggest thing to getting into it is you never played to let us win, but you pointed out like mistakes,
ways that I would
like
die. I can't. I've died to helping you guys. I can't tell you how many times.
Oh yeah.
Which is I almost like would feel worse if I stepped away from the table. I saw the win for you, and then I won somehow because you missed it, and then I didn't bring it up. Like if there's like and obviously we're not talking like egregious takebacks or anything. It's just you know, different lines or different things in the game where maybe I'm explaining my thing trying to let you know, hey, you need to do this thing to then kill me, you know, almost sometimes in a way. But that's part of like really just wanting a community, I think, for or to grow or to be welcoming, you know.
True. Just try to do some demo days at your shop if you're looking for a community building way. I mean, throw demos, build some decks for people. It really helps you get into the game. That's what you did for us.
It was easy. It was easy to like be able to build all the decks and kind of just, if you guys needed a card to play with. And another thing is proxies. Just if you're starting out trying to get a scene going, just allow proxies if you want to test decks. Talishar is another great testing resource. It's free. You get to just try crazy things on there if you want.
Yeah.
You can always just load it up and find a game, you know.
It's great. I like Talishar. It really helps evolve the community as well, because you get to play a lot more games, get a lot more reps, since you're not going out to armories if you're practicing for an event. Even
it's especially like midweek or during the week. Like we all work.
Yeah.
Like
we're just average Joes.
Yeah.
There isn't a lot of time outside of like a Saturday where we get together and play Fab outside of maybe a random day here and there.
Yep.
And Talishar really does kind of help still get those reps in, especially if you're working on a new deck, and still kind of lets you get the feel of it without being in person.
And
I'm not
to actually own the cards.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to like
it was nice.
Advocate for like
right.
Play.
We didn't have Talishar back when we started. You know, when we were playing Blitz and stuff, I was just bringing a ton of different decks, saying, "Hey, if you guys want to play a different deck, here, just like play these decks. Like let's do this." You know. Now
I think some of the magic of it is lost on Talishar. Like this is one of the most enjoyable TCGs to really play in person.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
You lose a lot of that.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure. Kind of the main, or like I'll say the last point I want to make on this topic is like we've kind of evolved. I think a lot of shops have though from playing Blitz to now kind of going to CC. CC is just like they say, the way the game's meant to be played, right?
It is.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of these cards are balanced with classic construction in mind.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is why some of them tend to be a lot more broken in Blitz.
It just helps evolve you as a player. You understand the game a lot more.
Yeah.
You get to go in depth, like we said, with the sideboard and everything, and that really helps you understand the full game extent. I mean,
We play a lot more CC. We definitely still play Blitz though.
Yeah.
We're almost very excited when our Blitz day comes up or when we schedule one.
It's like a little relief. We get to have some fun.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
it does feel like, a little bit more fun.
It's been running into the same decks for 3 weeks.
That's true.
But that's what you do when you have
I'm
fun
bringing
with
my
that
generic Briar.
Everyone's playtesting.
And then we also had a life gain Shyana. I'm so happy someone else came to the shop in mind with, let's be a crackhead.
Nathan, I think he's talking to you. Life gain Shyana is dead.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that was cool.
That was fun.
I think those are a lot of like the biggest differences between Blitz and CC. It'll be interesting to see how the like Blitz sideboarding changes that a little bit, but I still think
that's true. It's like mini CC now.
I mean, for the most part, you're really only getting probably between 2 to 4 cards in that sideboard, right? Because you still want to have different choices between your equipment.
Yeah, not many heroes can just rely on the 5 pieces of equipment.
There are some classes that can get away with it. Mechs are the first that come to mind, where it's like, well, why would I bring anything other than mech equipment?
Yep.
Rangers, somewhat. I mean, a lot of our ranger equipment just has innate arcane barrier too. Especially with like Azalea. Like Cross Wrap has it. Bullseye had it. I'm never not going to be salty about that ban. I'm sorry.
You still got him in Blitz.
But there isn't an arm piece now that has arcane barrier, is there?
I mean, you just have to run
null.
Yeah, it actually is.
It takes up a whole extra slot in the sideboard.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, the difference is I would kind of, we keep trying to like sort of answer this question. It's like more, it's just like Blitz is a lot, I would say, just funner. You get to do more fun things, more choice of hero or heroes. And CC is just your more competitive side of Fab.
Yeah. Yes.
Also though, just go play either one. Like it's Fab is Fab. I know people say it's a different game, Blitz and CC. Like, yeah, I see some merit into that argument.
Yeah.
You're in the end game quicker. You're forced to like. Your blocks actually matter. Your bad decisions are they cost you much more.
Yes.
But yeah, just go play either one. I love them both. Blitz always will have a special spot in our heart, I think.
Yeah.
So we'll just continue to talk about Blitz each week, or if there's Blitz news, there's a lot of skirmishes going on right now, so that's kind of has been part of our segments.
Absolutely, and we'll give more updates on that all the time. I mean, especially with the BNR. So
and we got an armory to do here, guys. You want to get to questions?
Let's do a listener question in.
Shops lately too have been doing like the starter deck armories with the Blitz decks.
Yes,
with like the newer players coming in and
the pre-con.
They're actually good. I mean, they're actually well built decks. Actually,
well
balanced. I have not played a game.
2 or 3 sets. Like the card pool in the Blitz decks has really become more focused on one strategy.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Whereas before they were kind of all over the place. It was like these are like the 3 things that this hero wants to do. And we're not going to let you do any of them well, but like here's the 3 that they kind of want to do.
Yeah.
And now it's like here's one solid game plan that this deck wants to do.
Yep. And I think we should honestly try it with the shop. I mean, it'd be great for the shop. It would be fun. I mean, we have so many Blitz decks at our shop, so we could definitely try it and do it. It'd be very fun, but let's get to the listener questions here.
One more thing before that. I did have this listed down. I did want to talk about. What's like the one thing you guys would go to Gen Con for?
Oh, yeah.
Well, just I don't know if you know where I'm going with this, but just if you chose to go to Gen Con, why would you go?
Kind of convention, right?
Right. Like maybe
I'd hope that there'd be a Fab event.
Trying new games, maybe.
Yeah.
Playing new games, and Fab's not that old, but I mean, Lorcana just came out.
Lorcana is really taking over the hype and took over the hype at Gen Con.
Yes.
Yeah.
But there was no Fab presence at Gen Con. Joe went.
At all?
One of our at all. No, at all. There was a good article this week.
Or anything?
No, I think one of the booths had Dust Till Dawn. I guess there was a good article this week. Someone wrote on the was it the Wraith Times? I think really good one about just kind of the lack of their presence there, and there was no events. There was no Fab events. Joe went. One of our locals went. He tried to get some Lorcana for me, and he's like, yeah, I looked at the line, and sorry, man. I guess it was just a stampede there. Yeah. Lorcana's really taken over that kind of hype right now. Fab isn't the hype game. It's more for the entrenched player, I feel, right now. And we need to kind of fix that new player,
new player base.
Yeah, we just need to get more new players into the game and have a more of a... I think PvE is really going to help with that, though.
Yeah,
it comes out and stuff.
Yeah. The player base has definitely grown in waves, I would say, too. Like, there hasn't been this, like, steady increase we've had.
And I think right now that's kind of what's weird to me about the not being at Gen Con thing is, like, with Dust Till Dawn just focusing on, the Light Shadow stuff, and then now just Mech coming out. Is there, like, a real incentive for new players to get into the game? Like, I don't know. It's a question that begs to be answered, but, I mean, we'll see. I hope so. I'm hopeful. But not being at Gen Con is kind of weird. It made me think, like, man, it'd be nice if someone was there handing out Ira decks. Like the article was saying, like, you just sit there with free Ira decks and learn to play.
Yeah.
Here's Fab. That would have been great.
Those Ira decks are great too for getting like an intro. Like, it covers a lot of like the basics of what the game is about.
Yeah, this is one thing I wanted to note. I don't know. It was just kind of weird. Seemed weird to me.
Was interesting. Well, LSS. Hopefully, you can get in next year. That'd be great for your game. I mean, I want to see your game grow. I want to see it here to stay. It's a great game. We love it. And
I think just the mechanics on this game alone are going to drive it to be where people want to play it.
Yeah.
Playing the game feels like no other card game, and it's just the design of it, I think, is better than most, or if not all.
Agreed.
Let's go into our questions, though, here. We're running a little bit late. Wes asked... Shout out Wes. Who's the best hero and why is it Fi? So we must have a Fi fan here.
Let's unpack that.
There was a Fi in the top 8, I think, at the recent... was it
the Battle Hardened or the Brawl?
Might have been the PTI event.
Okay.
Yep, I think I saw a Fi or two at the PTI
he definitely still will place well at those events.
Yep. Breaking Point seems like a real card into Lexi.
He's kind of positioned in a decent spot right now, especially with old him leaving the format soon. A lot of those aggro decks are going to be coming in to fill that void.
It's still a good deck.
Oh, yeah.
It just goes to show that, like, if you like a deck, maybe it's outside the meta if you just, like, pilot it well and have game plans and sideboard plans into... I know, man. I know it. We were talking... That's a different conversation.
So much planning. I'm going to dominate red in the ledger.
No, right? I know it. I was so close from... Long story short, I was so close from locking in Azalea and just saying, fuck it, I'm going to dodge all the Dromais in the Bravos, because I feel like maybe that's probably not a good one.
No.
But no, we locked in Lexi for Vegas.
But there's a reason Fi's the best hero.
I think Carter was thinking about playing Fi.
He was.
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll see.
It's always a race with Fi. You just want to be pumping out as much damage as possible, not blocking, making them
very
block.
Susceptible to the hands where you have, like, 2 blues... a weak red, and like you know what I mean. You're pumping out maybe 8 or 9 damage if you keep your full grip.
Yeah,
but it plays good mid range where you can block still. It has a lot of 3 blocks. I think all Draconic cards are 3 blocks, right?
Yes, I think most of them are.
Yeah,
a couple.
It's
or
also
2.
very
kind of a chonky ninja.
Very susceptible to any sort of disruption, though.
Yep.
Yeah. The Icelander matchup is always a classic.
Yeah, it is.
I've always enjoyed that one.
It's fun.
With Belittle, it was a kind of an uphill climb, but without it, it's felt a lot easier. The disruption, you can kind of handle a fight with either Ice Veins.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Fi is still great. I mean, a lot of
he
heroes that are outside the meta are still great. We have another question. Carter asked, do you guys have any traditions or habits you partake in preparation to playing in larger tournaments?
I always like to take a look at my deck the night before and just go through everything and make sure everything's there. And I mean, it's just I don't want to worry too much about it. I'd rather just be relaxed going into it.
Yes.
And not.
That's the biggest thing. Don't
feel pressured. I mean, if you start pressuring yourself and you can make a mistake and that can hurt you. But I mean, just try to go into it with a good attitude and.
Feels a lot easier said than done too.
It is.
I know, like for the bigger events, I will usually re-sleeve my decks. I would fucking hate to get some sort of disqualification or that would really, especially when you're not cheating and you're just not a cheater. You know, like I would just hate to have people have any question about that. Like, that would just
especially for
break my heart. Honestly, I'd be like, oh no, like So I always re-sleeve before a big tournament. Deck lists are a good one if you don't want to be rushed to when you sit down and have to lay out your deck and everyone's around walking around. That can be kind of a thing I know people don't like to do, so you can just kind of fill your deck list out the night before.
Written out like deck list going into the event, like this is what I'm bringing, and then you really just like copy it over to the sheet. I think having like that deck list prepared ahead of time.
Yeah. Also sideboard notes. Too. All your sideboard planning, in my opinion, should be done before the tournament.
Yes.
Every card that comes in and out in every matchup is all of that is the decisions are made for you. So where before you go into a game, you present heroes, you look at your notes, you say this is in, this is out. You just that's it. You just follow your notes, and all those decisions have been made for you.
Yep. Yeah.
So I mean that's another thing too is having your sideboard plans ready, doing all that work beforehand, so you don't have to think on the spot.
Yes.
I remember RTN round 1 against Azuri. I'm playing Lexi. I end up now running Heart of Ice more and more, but I had this inclination of run Heart of Ice. Run Heart of Ice. I don't have it in my notes. I had Tunic.
Yep.
And I just went with Tunic. But in the moment, if I would have ran Heart of Ice, he was super defensive, super D-react heavy. I think I win that game.
Yeah.
A few turns, I had that extra resource to pump into Heart of Ice. If I had Heart of Ice, there's a few turns that game where I recalled, man,
why am I not running it?
Yeah. Yeah. And that was just lack of preparation, lack of testing. Mm-hmm. I shouldn't have that thought of in the middle of the game, should I run Heart of Ice? Is he a defensive, Azuri?
Yeah.
But I think all those decisions should be made and beforehand, and that's kind of it.
Just going over your deck and making sure you have everything is
locking in a hero
good habit.
Too. Yeah, that can be an issue. Trying to pick your hero can be an issue.
There have definitely been a few of those like PTIs and stuff where we've gone to where like even the night before I've been like, oh my god, like who am I gonna be on? Like.
Yeah, that's like, not good. I know Bailey's always like, I'm going to play Bolton, and then he shows up with Azalea. I'm like, Bailey, what'd you do?
I think that was kind of my calling card last PTI season. It was, I'm going to play Bolton tomorrow. I'm going to play Bolton. Yeah, I brought Azalea.
Sometimes, though, listen, like, sometimes you just don't have the time. We are all, like we said, kind of just average Joes. We all have jobs. We all have lives. Fab is just very much like our outlet, and we just so happen to play it at a competitive level sometimes.
Yeah.
We just might not be able to prep like most of our competitors.
Absolutely.
I can't remember who said it, but casually competitive. I think that pretty well describes this.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree. We have one more question from Kellen. He says, now that we know new heroes will be printed to fill in slots of living legend heroes, what form do you think the next Earth/Ice Guardian will take? And how do you balance such a strong card pool? Yeah.
I feel like you could almost do a whole episode on this alone.
Yeah, it's a good talking point for sure.
Yow.
I don't even.
You don't give him a D react on the
hero.
No.
That's overpowered.
It would almost have to be an effect similar to Bravo's, where if you get the fusion, you get like plus something at the start of your turn.
It'd be cool to you mean Starvo?
Playing with fire.
Like mini Starvo.
That's playing with
fire. I don't know if that in balance.
You don't give it the go again.
He's asking us how to balance it, Cliff.
You don't give it the go again.
Okay. You just give it the pump. If you reveal maybe like a
Though
then you're just kind of slapping the Starvo treatment on it.
You kind of
well, otherwise, what's a big point for Earth cards?
That's true. It's just all
card
chonky shit. Is it? Is
card
it card draw?
Is it? I suppose Toma Harvest. They have a couple of like recursion cards too, where it's like just take X deck or X card from your graveyard and put it on top or bottom. You could probably do that with like an Earth Ice Guardian, like pitch 2-3 resources, put a card from your graveyard on the bottom of your deck. But then you're kind of getting into crown territory, and it's like, why would I do two?
I think whatever they do, if they print another old hymn, they just have to make it where crown isn't busted in it.
Yeah.
Although
I don't think there's a way to do that unless you
I think you just well, I'm just saying, like, I guess his D-React isn't technically, like, doesn't break crown or anything. So his card pool with crown is always going to be that strong old him feel.
Yeah.
That's the
so that
Ice
becomes
card pool.
Well, but they gave us
just
Vambrace.
kind of innately
They
like
gave
a
us
very
Vambrace,
strong
remember?
card pool.
If we get another Oldham, Vambrace will just become a thing again, and that'll be your counter to crown, I suppose. That's what they want, I think.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's a very good question. It's a tough question. I don't know how you balance it.
Yeah.
Because even, like, the D-React sometimes on Oldham isn't even... You might not activate it one time in a game, and you're still crushing your opponent or fatiguing your opponent.
Yep.
But, yeah.
Well, here's the thing. If they did balance it, what they could almost try to do it is geared a little bit more towards ice, so people playing that Guardian would be more inclined to play the Ice Crown, like Cornet Peak.
Well,
At that point, you just play Icelander Lexi.
Yeah.
I mean...
Like, old hymns kind of style didn't really lean too much into that.
Every time you make an opponent discard, they ping a damage.
Ice is insane.
No.
He's thinking Riptide over here.
Yep.
Ice is insanely strong, and I think they're going to have to really... I mean, Pulse of Isenloft being a double card, Ice and Earth, you can fuse with Old Hymn and everything, was a very strong combo, especially being able to block for 6.
Yeah.
Oakenhold just becomes a card again.
Yeah.
You know,
it's
the
so
second
good.
they print another one, that card just becomes a card again, and
that card is good.
Oh yeah.
The fact that wasn't the old hymn specialization still blows my mind.
Yes, with him on it.
I know it.
Starvo being able to use that, double fusing, and unreal.
What would
That's
actually be a really fun class would be an Ice Assassin.
Yeah.
That would be a fun class.
I think we've just sat here and talked about how strong Earth and Ice Guardians are, and not really like that's how we balance it. I don't know if we could. I don't know how we.
I don't think there's
a way.
They're already strong.
It's just such a
make the hero
strong
ability
card.
detrimental somehow.
Yeah.
Or
You just make the hero
or
ability
they
like
go the
Levia, where
Datadol
you
route.
somehow
3 intellect.
No, you can't do that
No.
to a Guardian. They're trying to block and stuff. You just hamstring them from the start.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's okay.
They
Okay
need
to do it the
mana,
Datadol,
or
not the Guardians.
They need resources and cards to block with.
They
I don't.
So does Datadol.
Yeah, she does. Yeah, she does. Well, that's maybe a good spot to end.
Well, thank you guys for joining us on episode 3. We really appreciate you guys following us, giving us a rating on Spotify. It'd be awesome for you guys to do that. Is there anything else you guys want to finish up talking about?
Yeah, as
There's
always,
a lot.
we'll have
There's a lot, but we just never have the time.
we'll have the links to our different socials and things like that in the description or the show notes on Spotify. You can find us on YouTube. We're on Twitter.
Yeah, we are going to be streaming and recording our armories too. We're about to go set up at our armory right now.
Yeah, we're
on
actually about to
Saturdays.
run over there.
We're late.
Yeah.
Everyone's waiting for us.
Yeah. But thank you for listening, and we really appreciate it. And catch us on episode 4 next week, where we will be talking about potentially some community building tips and how to build your community more of what we have done for our community.
Yeah.
Thank you. See you guys later.
See ya.